This study highlights remarkable parallels between the Amarna Letters and the biblical narrative, particularly in the accounts of key figures and events such as the deaths of Saul and Labaya, the rise of David, and the political struggles surrounding Jerusalem. Through these letters, figures like Tagi, Ili-Milku, and Suwardata emerge as pivotal players in conflicts that mirror David's alliances, military campaigns, and eventual conquest of Jerusalem, offering compelling synchronism between the historical and biblical records. The entire situation is vividly detailed by the king of Jerusalem, Abdi-Heba, offering a remarkable perspective from the viewpoint of the adversaries of King David. The Amarna Letter number 289, authored by this king of Jerusalem, reads,
"Now as for Jerusalem, if this land belongs to the king, why isn't it of concern to the king, like Hazatu? Gintikirmil belongs to Tagi, and men of Gath are the garrison in Beit Shean. Are we to act like Labaya when he was giving the land of Shechem to the Habiru?"
In Amarna Letter 290, Abdi-Heba's despair becomes evident as he writes to the king of Egypt, describing the advance his allies Ili-Milku. This study identifies to biblical Ahimelek and the king of Gath, along with their alliance with the Habiru under Tagi of Gintikirmil. The text reads,
"A town belonging to Jerusalem, named Beth Dagon by name, a city of the king, has gone over to the side of the men of Keilah. May the king pay attention to Abdi-Heba, your servant, and send archers to restore the land of the king to the king. If there are no archers, the land of the king will desert to the Habiru." This action against the land was at the order of Ili-Milku and at the order of Suwardata, along with Gath. May the king provide for his land.
These Amarna letters reveal Tagi of Gintikirmil as a pivotal leader in a powerful coalition. Far from acting alone, he skillfully forged alliances with Ili-Milku of Gezer and Suwardata of Gath, creating a united front that conquered cities and territories with striking parallels to the biblical conquests of King David. Just as David's campaigns unified and strengthened Israel, this coalition, led by Tagi, sought to transform the political landscape of Canaan, challenging established powers and reshaping the region with bold, decisive actions. The list of Tagi's allies expands in Amarna Letter 289, which describes Ahimelek not only siding with the sons of Labaya, identified in this study as Tagi himself and a hypothetical Mephibosheth, but also aligning with the sons of the ruler of Ruhizzi, named Arzawuya. This figure authored the Amarna Letters number 191 and 192 and has also been linked to the Habiru in Amarna Letter number 197. In Amarna Letter number 289, Abdi-Heba details the role of Arzawuya's sons in the attack against him, shedding further light on the alliances shaping the conflict.
Ili-Milku does not break away from the sons of Labaya and from the sons of Arzawuya, as they desire the land of the king for themselves. As for a mayor who does such a deed, why does the king not call him to account?
The name Arzawuya closely aligns phonetically with the female biblical character of Zeruiah, described in the biblical narrative as David's sister. However, within the context of the Amarna Letters, this reference likely signifies a political alliance rather than a familial tie. Even more significant are Zeruiah's sons in the biblical account, named Joab, Abishai, and Asahel. This study has already established Joab's identification with the Amarna commissioner Ayub. Over the next 12 chapters, Abishai will be analyzed as Abdi-Ashirta, a pivotal figure in this investigation. The third son, Asahel, may correspond to Amarna vassal Arassa-Ili, though unlike the previous two, this identification rests solely on phonetic resemblance. Additionally, in Amarna Letter 287, the king of Jerusalem reports that the commissioner named Addaya, whom this study conflates with this other commissioner named Ayub, and the son of Arzawuya, as well as with the biblical Joab, had abandoned his posts and was subsequently dismissed by the pharaoh, likely due to his rebellious activities. As the letter states,
"Gone is Addaya together with the garrison of soldiers that the king provided. May the king know that Addaya said to me, Behold, he the Pharaoh has dismissed me. O Pharaoh, do not abandon it, and send this year a garrison, and send right here.
In this same Amarna letter number 287, the king of Jerusalem lists more cities that joined the coalition under Tagi, which includes Gezer, Ashkelon, and Lachish, as it states,
May the king know that all the lands are at peace with one another, but I am at war. May the king provide for his land. Consider the lands of Gezer, Ashkelon, and Lachish. They have given food, oil, and any other requirement to the Habiru. So may the king provide for archers, and send the archers against the men that commit crimes against the king, my lord.
The despair of the king of Jerusalem becomes more evident in Amarna letter 288, as he writes to the king of Egypt about military losses around the region of Shiloh.
Behold, Tirbazu was slain in the city gate of Shiloh, and the king did nothing. Behold, servants who were joined to the Habiru, Zimreda of Lachish, and Abdi-Heba was also slain in the city gate of Shiloh. The king did nothing. Why has he not called them to account?
The king of Jerusalem laments the situation in Amarna letter number 288, stating that too few cities remain loyal to Egypt. He paints a vivid picture of David's ability to gather support from both sides, Hebrews and Philistines, and finally declares that he is on the brink of losing the war.
I am at war as far as the land of Seru, and as far as Ginti-Kirmil. All the mayors are at peace, but I am at war. I am treated like an Habiru, and I do not visit the king, my lord, since I am at war. I am situated like a ship in the midst of the sea. The strong hand of the king took the land of Narima and the land of Cush, but now the Habiru have taken the very cities of the king. Not a single mayor remains loyal to the king, my lord. All are lost.
Remarkably, David's kingdom was built not only through military conquests, but also through friendships and alliances carefully maintained between the Hebrews and Philistines. This characterization is consistent with biblical accounts of David's life and leadership. The imminent attack on Jerusalem is confirmed in Amarna letter 290, where its king lists the cities of the coalition marching against him.
They commanded troops from Gezer, troops from Gath, and troops from Keilah. They seized Araba. The lands of the king have been abandoned to the Habiru.
It is fascinating to see the cities associated with Ili-Milku, Suwardata, and Tagi, or as their biblical counterparts may be identified, Ahimelek, Achish, and David, mentioned together. As we read these texts, their synchronicity with the Bible brings a smile to our faces. Unfortunately, we do not have an Amarna letter detailing the results of the attack on Jerusalem. By this time, Egypt had entered the reign of Pharaoh Tutankhamun, who abandoned Amarna and moved the administration to Thebes. However, the biblical account in 2 Samuel 5, verse 7-10 provides the conclusion.
David captured the fortress of Zion. He then took up residence in the fortress and called it the City of David. He built up the area around it, from the terraces inward, and he became more and more powerful because the Lord God Almighty was with him.
This remarkable synchronization between the Amarna letters and the biblical narrative continues to provide compelling evidence for the historicity of these events. The next chapter of this study will delve into the final conquest of Jerusalem as described in Amarna letter 290, shedding light on the geopolitical and historical implications of this event. It will also explore archaeological evidence from the Late Bronze Age that aligns with the Jerusalem of David's time, providing a bridge between biblical narratives and material culture. Finally, and most importantly, the chapter will address the challenge of reconciling the biblical timeline with historical chronology, employing radiocarbon calibration curves as the best argument to defend a new chronological framework through the correction of a known anomaly called the Hallstatt Plateau.